If you're wondering what the heck Pools VR is all about, well then this video is for you. Now it's actually a hybrid game and you get both the flat version and the VR version when you buy the game, but I don't know why you'd want to play it in any other way than in VR. It's not really a game. The whole concept behind it is just kind of atmospheric exploration inspired by the Backrooms or the Pool Rooms internet phenomenon. I don't really know what that means, but it's basically liminal spaces. There aren't any weapons, there's no monsters or enemies, and there's not even any jump scares, but the game can kind of be creepy and stuff at times. It's not meant to be a scary game, but the horror aspects come from being alone and the weird silence and the shifting, uncanny feelings that you get when you're walking around. It can actually be quite trippy and dreamy. At one point I even came across a toilet bowl that I would never use. Anyway, let's check this out.
The highly seasoned gamer VR.
Now, visually, the game looks pretty good. It's not quite up to the level of, let's say, Kayak Mirage VR, but it runs at 120 hertz, and it's got DFR, foveated eye track rendering. Supposedly, there is a pro patch plan, but I don't think that actually happened yet. However, the frame rate is a little bit smoother on the pro. Anyway, I know the game has been patched a few times already to fix some of the frame rate issues, and occasionally things get bogged down, and I noticed that things felt a little weird. And I don't have motion sickness issues, but if you're the type that's prone to that stuff, this game may affect you a little bit, I'm not sure. It's pretty sharp though, and it does look pretty good overall, I must admit. It's basically a walking simulator more than a game, but you can play it seated, standing, or more room scale style. The experience is probably about an hour to 90 minutes total, and there's 6 different sections, but you can walk through all of them in one sitting, which is what I recommend, unless you want to go back to a certain area. And then, of course, there's plenty of gameplay settings that you can adjust, which I really do appreciate. So you can kind of set things up the way that you like it, from skin tone to changing your hand to smooth turning and snap turning and seat heights and all that stuff. You can even change your footstep sound to be barefoot instead of shoes. You can adjust the brightness levels with the visuals. And of course, you can put on a vignette and anything you want to do to adjust issues if you have motion sickness. You can push in the analog stick down to duck down or stand back up. And if you do have motion sickness issues, you can use a click walking, click turning method for this game. Let's talk about the sound for a second. So supposedly it uses some kind of Tempest 3D audio tech. And it has controller haptics to simulate the water and the footsteps and stuff. But the audio is one of the best parts. Like I said, there's no music, but it has some great sound. Now, I'm not going to show you everything because I don't want to spoil some of the surprises, and obviously the game's only about an hour or so long, but there is quite a variety of cool different locations and visual areas that you get to explore, like this one, which was kind of like a maze. I got a little bit lost for a minute walking around trying to find out where to go. And sometimes you'll come across some really creepy statues and architecture and stuff. You would think this is the kind of game that doesn't really have a lot of replay value, and in a way I would agree, but at the same time, these are the kind of games that you want to show people that have never experienced maybe VR or something cool, and you might want to just jump in one section and walk around and put on a podcast or Spotify or just have a place to escape and walk around just to relax and think about life. So sometimes, you could play this more than once, I suppose. I felt like I went back to the 1970s or something with these colors for some reason. Now, obviously, there is a lot of water and quote-unquote pools in this game. I haven't shown you a lot of it yet because, I want to save some of that for you to experience on your own. But you can't exactly swim, but you can definitely rummage and walk through the water in different sections. And the water physics, it's pretty decent. Considering it's a game about pools and water, it could be better. But you can play in the water and splash around, and you can even put your head underneath the water and then lift it back up, and you'll get that effect of the water in your face and stuff, which is kind of cool. And although you don't use your hands all the time, you do have hands, and you have the option to touch certain things. You can climb ladders, and there's certain things to kind of climb and hang on to if you need to or you want to. I get it. This game is not for everybody. In fact, it may bore the heck out of somebody. In fact, this video might even be boring to you just watching me walk around. But if you're like me and you love walking simulators and you love just being in immersive environments in VR to explore, then you will enjoy this for sure. Just keep in mind that it's not that long, so you might want to wait for a sale, but I mean, check out this area. This is so cool. I mean, I was just walking around this weird kind of town full of like houses, but they're floating in the water, and there's sometimes stuff you can see in the windows, and I mean, just a cool environment. And how can you have a game called Pools without having a bunch of blow-up flamingo pool toys? Even that's in the game. I mean, it's got some humor thrown in. If it sometimes looks like I'm slowing down and speeding up, that's because there is a walking and a running option when you hold down the button. So occasionally I'm running and sometimes I'm walking. I'm not really into the whole trophy thing, but there is a platinum trophy, and I think there's some small hidden secret trophies that you can get that may take a few hours. There's a couple like event sections, I guess you could say. And there's some really cool areas where the ground actually rotates with you. I can't explain it, but you just have to experience it to understand. At one point, there was this big confusing area where everything felt like I was upside down and the pools were like on the ceiling and things are just kind of in all different directions, and it's pretty cool. Every once in a while, you reach a room like this that's just stunning. This might be one of my favorite areas in the whole game. It's just so pretty, and the way the bricks look and the water and the colorful slides and stuff. I mean, like I said, it's weird, but it's beautiful. This might sound weird, but I kind of wish the game had co-op, because if you could kind of just walk around and explore this place with a friend while you're having a conversation, that would have been kind of cool. Pointless, but still would have been cool. You know, it's really difficult to rate a VR experience like this because it's not really a game. But if you know me at all, I like to rate my games based on what type of game it is and if they've achieved what they set out to do with that product. So, for example, I might give a game like Grand Theft Auto a 9 and then give a silly little indie VR game a 9 also, not because it's better than that bigger game, but because it's perfect for what it set out to do. I'm sure by now you already know if this game is for you or not, but if for some reason you are on the fence, I hope I helped you make your decision. If I had to rate it as a liminal space walking simulator, I'll give it an 8.1. It really does have some beautiful graphics, and it put me in a mind space that very few VR games put me in when I was roaming around in the middle of the night trying to play this thing. If you have major issues with motion sickness or you hate walking simulators, then definitely avoid this one. But other than that, thanks so much for watching, and leave me a comment if you played this game. Let me know if you love it, if you hate it, and what your thoughts are on it. Until next time, I'll see you in VR.